All right, well, welcome to another episode of LorcanaChats. Today I am joined by the Love2Lore ladies. If you guys would like to introduce yourselves really quickly, we can go ahead and start off there.
Sure. I'll go first. I'm Caroline. You might also know me as Lorcana Bell. I am the community admin for Love2Lore, the Discord wizard, as Sarah likes to say. And yeah, we're excited to be here.
I
Lauren?
will go
Oh,
next. Oh,
go ahead.
no, Lauren. No,
Absolutely.
Lauren.
No.
Yes, no. Please, Lauren.
Okay, I'll go next. I'm Lauren, also known as Lauren Kana on the socials. I am the head of our competitive team and in charge of the Twitter.
Nice. Welcome.
Okay, now I'll go. I am Sarah, also a Lorcana librarian on Instagram, and I head up our Instagram and our social media strategy and PR department.
Okay. Wow. Very official. I have to say I am impressed. I know a lot of community efforts or things that have started up from community efforts in the past that, it's like, oh yeah, we have people that do things. It's like it's pretty impressive to actually have, roles and everything for this kind of thing, especially so early on. It's great. But we'll get to that in a second. So first off, one of the first things I love finding out from my guests is how they kind of initially got into Lorcana. If you have any background in TCGs before, I'd love to hear, some of y'all's introduction to the game and how you got started.
The origin story.
Yes, absolutely.
For myself, I'm a big Disneyland fan, and so I was plugged into the Disney community that way. And with the D23 reveals and whatnot, got me hooked in, and kind of started playing casual play to have these really cute thematic decks that I could take to Disneyland and play. I want to play this dwarf deck, in front of Snow White. But
Nice.
it grew on like an obsession level that I became very competitive. So now I compete and play competitively. So that's my journey for Lorcana.
Interesting. I don't know if I've talked to anybody that did the whole like Disney park thing with playing. So you actually took like a deck to the park and played right there, or?
Yeah, there's quite a few of us that are kind of on Instagram that are kind of plugged into like Magic Key holders, annual pass holders that go to the park quite often that were on
Okay.
board for, we get our cards signed by the characters and that kind of fun stuff.
Nice. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
If I were
Hopefully
still in
someday they'll.
Orlando,
Yes.
if I were still in Orlando, that's what I would be doing.
Hopefully someday they'll have like an official event, actually at one of the Disney parks. That would be pretty cool.
Can neither
All right, well,
confirm
cool.
nor deny that that's going to happen.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Caroline, how'd you get into the game?
Well, I just sort of mentioned Orlando. I was a cast member once upon a time, and after that, a travel agent and a Disney podcast host myself. So I've been a Disney kid since I was a little tiny one. So when my husband said, "Hey, there's a TCG that's gonna be Disney themed. Are you interested?" The answer was, of course. Why would I not be? He has a background in Magic, and I played some Pokemon, not with any kind of rule set at all, just sort of playing with the cards, pretend, when I was a child. And so I have like some knowledge of what the mechanics are and the process and stuff, but he sort of gave me the background as we were leading up to the release of the first set, and now I'm way more into the game than he is. I wouldn't say I'm a competitive player at all. I'm much more casual, but I like to say casual competitive because I get very competitive when I am playing. I want to do well.
Okay.
But right. I'm not someone who's going to, go to a challenge and, I'm going to make top 64. Absolutely not. That's not me. But
yeah.
I do eventually like want to compete in a set championships and like be competitive, you know.
Did
That's
you not get
that's
to
more where I'm
compete?
at. No, I didn't get to compete in the set 3 championships because scheduling didn't quite work out for me.
Okay.
We'll see for set 4. We'll see. I'm thinking
Fingers
probably
crossed.
more set 5. I'll be prepared to like go in and actually be
Win it all.
ready. Maybe with some help from Lauren.
There you go.
Yep.
Speaking of which, Lauren, would you like to talk some about your background with the game?
Sure, I can. I'm gonna be your traditional story of 23-year magic grinder who found out about Lorcana and got kind of interested in it. I was mostly interested in looking into it as a collector because I love collecting shiny cardboard. And especially if the first set of a new game that looked like it was going to last seemed like a good place to enter. So I went to product was so hard to get at the beginning that I went to a starter deck tournament and I kind of fell in love with the game engine. So it hooked me on the gameplay aspect just as much as it did on the collector aspect.
Okay, cool. And how do you find it compared to, because I mean, apparently, you've played so much Magic in the past. Is it still something like, do you enjoy both games, or is it just like,
Yeah,
okay, I'm done with Magic because Lorcana is super awesome?
I play both. I
Okay.
For Magic, I play the really old, really niche formats where you get to play with your $10,000 decks and whatever. And that's just fun.
Yeah.
But for day-to-day gameplay, I prefer Lorcana.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting, as somebody that I did a little bit of Magic, way back in the day. And it's interesting getting into Lorcana and seeing it, seeing the comparison of like pricing between them, seeing how much some of those older Magic decks are and stuff. It's amazing to me. I know we have some expensive cards, right?
Yeah,
But it's not quite the same level as,
no,
as some of that stuff. So,
like as far as Magic cards go, I own a Black Lotus, so that's a big
okay.
card.
Yep. Yeah, I think anybody that's even vaguely heard of Magic knows what that card is.
Yes.
Awesome, awesome. And so,
Speaking,
oh no, go ahead.
I had a quick note about very expensive Magic the Gathering cards. Ursula's Return is my first time actually paying cash for any cards because my partner cashed in all of his Magic the Gathering cards for us
Oh,
to go on this Lorcana adventure together.
oh,
Okay,
So
cool.
yeah, he
nice.
contributed to the investment fund of the start. So we were able to actually like pre-order first chapter and things like that and be
Oh
ahead
Nice.
wow.
on getting product. Yeah. So I'm thankful that my skill level is where it is because they were willing to sacrifice, their very 20-year long collection of Magic the
Oh
Gathering and
wow.
like judge promos and things like that. So
Wow.
yeah, good stuff.
Goodness.
So
That's a lot.
Mm.
Wow.
it's a
But
very
I
Disney
mean,
love story.
yeah. No, that's great. And we joked about it, but and you hit it with a Lumineers quest, but I think we all have those stacks of cards scattered around. I've got a bunch right over here, thankfully out of camera view, but but
Yeah.
yes.
Mine are all
Yep.
downstairs.
Yeah.
It's hiding my embarrassment of a pile on the table. So
Not your embarrassment. It's your call. It's what means you're one of us.
yes.
Yep, exactly.
I
Yeah.
was
It's your
like,
mark of belonging.
There you
there
go.
it is.
See? And
If
there is no
anyone knows,
judgment here, right?
yeah.
We're all like, oh yeah, we've got stacks of cards
If I
everywhere.
were
Yeah.
close enough, I would offer to come over and
I was just
organize those for you because that's like my jam is I love the organizing. But
can we get a task rabbit for Lorcana like sorting it, please? Please.
I mean, yeah. Honestly,
Yeah.
if teleportation was a thing, I would be there in a heartbeat.
I think we just made an agency, Caroline.
Nice. Well, cool. Well, so all of you are in one way or another a big part of the community in general, not just the Love to Lore stuff. I mean, you've all been kind of creators and involved in the community. I mean, I'm wearing a bracelet that Caroline put together for me. One of the, I'm sure, like hundreds that you've sent out now. How
Oh
many have you
no,
done?
not hundreds. I've done 3 batches now and I'm working on a fourth. So I would say it's probably in the neighborhood of like 30 to 40. Yeah.
Still very
That's
limited edition.
Yes, still very
yes.
limited edition.
Well, and
Um,
apparently, according to some of the recent shows, I think was it the Illumineers the other night that Rebecca was like, "How do I get one? I need one."
yes, I am working on getting Rebecca hers. I made a couple just like stock ones, one for each ink color, and then an Illuminaire one, sort of to like model what I would be able to do for people if they wanted to get one. Thinking about like an Etsy shop that I might build, and
Oh, nice.
she wants the Illuminaire one. It's got like stars on either side of the word. And I was like, I gotta warn you, it's a little small. She's like, that's okay. I have child-sized wrists.
Yeah,
I
this one's
apologize
pretty
for the
cool.
meows happening in the back.
Oh,
My
it's
cat
okay.
They're
is
so
Yeah.
cute.
complaining.
No, no. They tend to be demanding of attention right at the wrong time.
Yes.
Yes.
I've been lucky so far that Illumiteers has not been interrupted by a cat. But I've only been on my trivia duties for them for 3 weeks so far. So
That's true. So tell a little bit more about what you're doing for them.
sure, yeah, I completely forgot to mention that in my intro. I'm also a community admin for the Illumiteers. I am their quiz master on Let's Talk Lorcana, and weekly in the Discord for them, we are running some games. Fergus and I are the co-game masters, I suppose, and I'm running Disney trivia every other day, and then I just started a Name That Tune game on Sundays. And he runs 20 questions where you have to ask yes or no questions to determine what card he has selected that he is thinking of. And then he also is doing Badly Drawn Lorcana, which is
Which is
hilarious.
It's a super fun one. Yeah.
Where he very intentionally poorly draws Lorcana cards in like MS Paint and posts them, and people have to guess what it is.
Yeah, some of those are pretty tough. You would think that just like simple line art stuff wouldn't be too bad, but it's a little tricky sometimes. So.
I think he's making it more challenging than it needs to be on purpose.
Well,
Yeah,
and
we have a
Sarah,
good time.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying we have a good time in there, and
Yeah.
the Limiteers in general are trying to grow their Discord community, and so they brought me and Fergus on to make that happen. So we're doing what we can.
And Sarah, you do a lot of stuff on Instagram. I know I see your stuff come across my feed all the time. So
Nice. Good to know.
yeah, yeah. Well, and that's one of the interesting things is, whenever, and I'm sure this was even more so for y'all because y'all kind of got off with the first chapter. I managed to hop in like kind of the tail end of Floodborne. But even when I was looking around for content, there wasn't too terribly much of it out there. There was a couple of things, you had like Citizens of Lorcana and a couple other podcasts, and but it's amazing to see the growth of all the accounts and the different creators and everything. And it's so cool to be able to actually have more than like 2 posts to catch up on whenever you go and look.
Yes.
So,
There was a while it was just Rebecca. So we all looked to her. Yeah, and for myself, I manage people's social media and whatnot in real life in my real day job. And so a lot of what I do is just like do as what I say, but not as I do. I never had the time to kind of like get things. So I was just like, I'll just throw up these, opening packs, some, little funny memes and things like that. But it really, yeah, because there was this kind of lack of content there. I think a lot of people are just very hungry for it. But I think for myself, I had this really relatable aspect of going from a casual player to competitive player and kind of seeing the humor there.
Mhm.
So going on Instagram and kind of having that as an outlet and a creative way to connect with the community kind of helped me to still like stay fired up to be competitive. You know what I mean?
Yep, definitely. It's kind of a nice feedback loop, right? And so you post that stuff out there, people comment on it, and you see their stuff, you comment on that, and it's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good time.
And Lauren, you're pretty active on Twitter too, right?
Yeah, I do a decent amount on Twitter. I also, my private, I have a YouTube that's been posting videos of that one application that no longer exists.
Yes, that shall not be named. Yes.
Yes. So I don't know what I'm going to do for YouTube after that, but I'm still active on Twitter.
Okay, cool. Yeah, there's a lot of creators that were depending on that client to create content. And I mean, I get it, right? That was the thing that everybody used. Well, a lot of people. There's still a lot of people that were like, yeah, I never really used that. I was like, okay, I don't
I
know
think
how you manage that, but
Bivens said that in an interview at one point that he never trained online at all. And I was like, how?
yeah,
How were
yeah,
you training against a variety of decks and a variety of different kinds of players? And you're still this like how are you doing that without using it online and you're as good as you are? Like it's wild to
yeah,
me.
yeah,
Well, part of it might be he had a good group of people around him, which kind of
That's a
leads
good point.
into our project.
this is true. Yeah.
Oh, what a good segue.
See, it didn't even have to lead into it. Y'all took care of it. So
It's so natural, yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So Love2Lore. So tell me a little bit about it. I know y'all have been on lots of different shows talking about it, and so I'm sure this is like rehashing a lot of the same stuff. But I love to learn about or love to hear about this kind of stuff directly from the source, rather than trying to piece it together from different Twitter posts and all that. So yeah, if y'all tell a little bit about it, kind of the background of it, what's going on with it.
Yeah. So Love2Lore is a community network that we established to sorry, as my cat walks in front of me.
Nice.
That we established to create a space where Lorcana players of marginalized genders can engage with the game in whatever way they would like to, whether that is competitive play, casual play, collecting, cosplay, content creation. It spans the whole gamut, and we wanted to create a watering hole for people to talk together and share their thoughts and feelings about whatever way they were engaging with the space, but also a place where marginalized players felt that they could come and be free of worry about harassment or judgment or anything like that, and also pool our resources such that we could support a competitive team of marginalized players. And I'll let Lauren talk a little bit more about that.
Yes, the competitive team is still, I'm still getting more people interested every day, but we're solidifying down our roster, and we've been putting together a lot of practice in we have a Discord for not just the competitive team, but for the entirety of Love2Lore.
Mhm.
That's where most of the stuff happens. And in the Discord, there's been a lot of interest in getting competitive from people who either started and thought they were competitive or weren't but want to be. And we are kind of giving them the resources like Bivens might have had to do a lot of testing to,
Mhm.
put their deck through the ringer, either playing against it or just putting it up and having people dissect it and, put it up suggestions. And it's really just been a great, everyone's super supportive of everyone else, and it's been a really good place to try and get more competitive.
Nice.
Yeah, our team play testing channels have really been hopping the last couple of days. Have been really great. It's been really great to see that. We had several team members and Love2Lore community members in general participate in Sunday Night Ink Fight on Real Play Network,
Right.
which was very cool. Had a great time doing that. And then just in our own Discord, I think almost every day for the last
Yeah.
like week or so, there's been at least one group doing some play testing, which has been really fantastic to
Nice.
see.
Nice. And I'm assuming people from all over the place, right? They're not like,
It's a lot of US people. We've got a couple UK people.
Yeah,
Okay.
poor Lauren has to juggle trying to make meeting times with people all national and like, you know, time zones and the UK time zones. It's an amazing feat that she's doing. Really, really.
Yeah, we're hoping to bring on some UK or EU mods here in the next couple of weeks, because right now all of our moderation team is all US based. But luckily we have a good span across the country. So I wake up on the earlier side in Eastern time, and then we have, you know, some Central and Mountain time folks. I think Lynn's might be she's either Pacific time, or she's much more of a night owl than any of the rest of us, because she's on very late. So it's been really great to have a really diverse group of folks from all over the place.
Yeah, definitely.
For myself.
Well, go ahead.
No.
Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. For like content creation, like we were talking before, there wasn't a lot in the beginning. So finding a group of people that are willing to put their heads together and do content together, I think has been really fun. We all did a video together a long time ago, I think back in April with Rebecca, where we were like passing a card to each other and all the
Right.
ladies
Yeah,
who lure
I
kind of a
remember
thing.
that.
And after that, I was just like, this is the best thing ever. I just want to do nothing but, you know, collaborate with other people who are facing the same kind of, you know, struggles that I'm facing. And so when I heard that this Discord was forming, I was like, I am all aboard in whatever I can do to help, you know, because having this dream come true, because coming from competitive play and coming from like trying to go into these stores and go and like play competitively as a female is not always a welcoming space. So having us that we can actually like, you know, amplify our voices this way is really exciting.
Yeah, we have a channel dedicated in the Discord where folks can share their content and places where they're going to be present online, so that other Love2Lore members can go support them. When Sarah and I were on Illuminators the other night, and Rebecca and I were on Illuminators the other night. It's been a regular thing for us to share, you know, hey, we're doing this, and it's not even just been like leadership like us. We had, you know, folks share their YouTube videos and you know, other things that they have going on. We're finding ways to uplift each other through this community, because a rising tide will lift all boats.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and you know, the game is fun, right? And playing it is great, but you know, if you don't have that kind of community around you, then you know, it's just kind of like, oh, it's a game, you know. But really getting invested and really, you know, learning about everybody and learning, you know, where you can fit in and everything, it's just so huge as a part of a game, especially a social kind of game like this, right? You know, with the client that shall not be named, you know, you were playing online, and so it was, you know, it was a little more impersonal, right? But being able to sit down and talk with somebody across the table, you know, I can't think of a match. Well, I say that. I can think of one match because I went down to Atlanta where my opponent and I didn't really talk. We just kind of played. And it wasn't nearly as much fun. You know, you don't have that personal connection, the interaction. It's such kind of a key piece of this game, and really, I mean, any kind of game. But it seems like it's more, and I don't know, this may be, you know, y'all may have a different perspective on this, but it just seems like most of the people in the community are generally pretty open and, you know, happy to talk about whatever. You know, sitting down at my LGS, you know, I'll sit across from somebody and talk their ear off. You know, I have no problem talking to pretty much anybody. So, but you know, and I don't know if it's like because it's Disney, you know, everybody's a little bit more friendly or what it is, but it's huge.
Yeah, that's been my perspective as far as like the difference between Lorcana and other TCGs, is that it has brought so much of that Disney attitude and folks who have that Disney attitude into the community, that I think it is much more welcoming on average. But I think the need for a space specifically for marginalized genders was still evident to us, not just like not necessarily specifically from online, but from even experiences in person. Because while online, particularly like the more present voices in the community, we've had a lot of folks who've been very vocally supportive, who are, you know, not members of the marginalized gender community, like you and like Ryan and like, you know, a lot of guys on Team Lab, and you know, just a lot of really common folks in the community who you see pretty much everywhere being supportive of welcoming all genders in. But in person, that's not necessarily been everybody's experience. And because it is harder to play not in person, it's more important for us to create these spaces online that are specifically for the marginalized gender community, so that we feel we have a space that's almost, it's sort of like the same mission as, not the same, it's sort of like the mission of Real Play Network that Brandon and John T shared. They want it to be like your locals. We want to create a space that you can have that level of community that you want to have at your local store, but with all folks, that you're not going to be judged or harassed simply because you're not a cis man.
Yeah.
I like to say it brings the Disney cast member vibes.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, that's actually a really good way to put it. I like that. You know what we completely skipped over was how it actually started up. I think y'all kind of have alluded to it, you know, but I don't know if I know the full like origin story, you know, because of course we have to talk about origin stories around here. But yeah, I'd love to hear how it first kind of got kicked off and everything.
Yeah, so I'll go.
Yeah.
It was actually Becky from Live Laugh Lorcana who decided that she had heard enough people of marginalized gender talk about wanting a competitive team that she was just going to put everyone into Discord and see what happened. And she did that, and then she took a step back, and the three of us and Cass really stood up and took on the major roles to make it happen. But yeah, it was Becky from Live Laugh Lorcana who got the ball rolling.
Yeah, she stuck like 8 or 9 of us in a Discord and said, okay, you all have been people who have been talking about doing something together as a group of ladies. What are we doing? And our first step was, okay, well, we don't just want it to be ladies, we want it to be all marginalized genders. And we got to get organized. And so that's why you see we have dedicated roles. We have, you know, we've had I would say a decently organized rollout. We've had, you know, appearances on lots of the, you know, shows in the space, and we've got people dedicated to each of the social medias, and we have, you know, sort of divided up teams and responsibilities. It's because everyone wanted this and wanted it to be good that we've all dedicated our energy and our time to making this into the kind of space that we feel like we need.
Yeah, and it seems like it's really caught on. I mean, as speaking as, you know, somebody from an outsider perspective, I mean, you know, to have something like this early on in the community, you know, to not have to like go back and kind of retrofit it into, because I know Magic had a lot of problems with this same kind of thing too. But to have to like actually start up a campaign, you know, way after the fact, after a couple of years, you know, to have this kind of thing like right from the beginning, I think it's huge for the community.
Yeah, in the last 2 weeks since we launched, we've gone from 38-ish members by simply word of mouth to 120.
Holy cow.
Uh-huh.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been pretty fantastic.
Wow.
we do, that's not like those numbers aren't padded at all. We vet everybody that comes in and make sure that they're a real person, not spam or a bot or somebody trying to sell something. And B, that they are a player of marginalized gender. They select their pronouns, they agree to the rules. And not only do they have to agree to the rules to get in, we also tell them to read the rules again, ask them if they have any questions, make sure that we go through that whole process verbally, but like written out so that we can make sure we're going through and guarding our space in the way that is needed.
Yeah, I was going to say, building this kind of thing, you have to make sure that it's a little protected, right? Not in the sense of like cutting it off, but just to make sure that, because it is such an important thing and it is such an important group of people, you don't want just random people, hopping in, and then you have the same kind of problem as before, right? There's not that focus on this marginalized group of people. It's like, oh yeah, anybody can show up, but there happens to be this little small section of, of other people. But no, that's great. I didn't know, about the whole vetting process. That's awesome. That's such a great idea. I think I hopped in there whenever you first announced it, and you were like, "Hey, by the way," and I was like, "Oh, okay, no worries." I get it.
And
I totally understand.
That's generally the approach that we've taken. We've had a lot of folks like you who have been really supportive and have wanted to join, and we've known most of them, and so most of them we've been like, hey, just so you know, we're keeping this space just for us, and everybody's been pretty chill about that. There have been some folks that we haven't known, but it's been pretty easy to figure out when they are cis men, and so far we haven't had anybody be disrespectful of the space, which is really great, knock on wood.
Yeah, no, that's
the
great.
usual response is like, well, how can I help and support, which is just amazing. That's so awesome. So I think letting people know how to help and support is just like amplifying our voice, sharing, starting the conversations, having like, comment, and subscribe, good old fashioned stuff.
Right.
But yeah, like, just really being that. And I know I see a lot of conversation happen about like things that happen at LGSs and, oh, how do I handle this? How do I handle that? I mean, if you see, stuff happening that's not great, you can always be an ally, So, these are ways that people can, jump in and help us, support us, as it were.
Yeah, speaking up for folks when you see it happening in real time is absolutely a way that, and that's not something that people like us are necessarily going to see you do, because it could be in person, it could be at your own LGS, and that's not something that people on Twitter or Instagram or Discord are ever going to see. But it is, if you are genuinely interested in supporting the community of marginalized players, like, that is, I would say, the number one way that you can support the mission of what we're doing.
Nice. So I know you've talked some about what you're currently doing. I know the competitive team is in the works, I guess. Is there anything else that y'all are planning, as far as like upcoming like events, or, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what y'all have planned.
There's definitely events coming. One of our members is having an event up in Seattle. It's not like a Love2Lore event per se, but she is a member and she does our Facebook and whatnot. And so they are having an event there. Oh my gosh, I wish I had the date offhand. I know, I think it's Saturday. Oh no. But we are also going to have ways that people can support by having, maybe t-shirts or whatnot available, because we have some graphics coming. But yeah, everything is in baby stage right now. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, merch is definitely on the horizon, and I think events are something that we would love to do, particularly like alongside some official Lorcana stuff. Like, while like, after a challenge has happened, host a Love2Lore like meetup of some kind.
Mhm.
Things like that. We're still sort of putting things together and gathering those ideas and figuring out what's feasible. But I think the possibilities are kind of endless right now. Like, we
Yeah.
have so many doors open to us, and we have so many different skill sets within the group. Like, it's really a blank slate that we get to, mark all over.
We just don't want to open doors so fast that we get exhausted.
Yes.
Yes. That's another huge piece of it.
Yeah, we
And
want it to be
growing any kind of
sustainable.
community. Yeah. And I mean, if y'all see the same kind of growth as you've seen, just so far, it's going to get big pretty quick, which is
Yeah.
great. It's great to have
Yeah.
that problem. That's, you want it that way versus the other way around. But yeah, no, that can be a lot. But um, oh no, I completely forgot what I was going to ask next. Because you guys, well, I was going to ask about how people can help out and everything, but you already covered that. So
I'll give you another way people can help out. And this is
okay.
specifically for LGS owners. Make sure your bathrooms are cleaner than you do when it's just a bunch of guys.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
that's real. Like, make sure it's cleaner than you might let it slide to when it's just a bunch of guys
Yeah.
in the store.
In
Like
in
your
general.
mom, yeah, like your mom is coming over
Yeah.
because someone's mom is coming over.
Is coming over.
So,
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
In
Yeah.
general, make sure your spaces are friendly to
Yeah.
those of marginalized genders.
Yeah.
It's not just one bathroom that's getting used.
Yeah. Well, and you would hope that would be the case all the time, but
You would hope, but
I've been to my LGS, so unfortunately, but no, I mean, and it's funny, stuff like that you don't think about, you know, and it's again, that's why it's perfect to have this kind of thing out there, this kind of community, to be able to make sure that kind of stuff is brought out, that these little things that people just don't think about, are out there. And in all the different kinds of areas too, not just in the gameplay, or not just at competitive events. There's all sorts of different situations to have to think about.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I mean, it seems as simple as just treat people like people, but unfortunately it's never that simple. It should be, honestly,
It should
but
be.
yeah.
And
It's
that's, I think, our goal is to elevate marginalized genders within Lorcana such that there is the difference in presence and the difference in recognizability evens out.
right.
Lauren was talking about when we were on the other night that we don't want to just see, one or two players of marginalized genders in top cut at a challenge. We want to see 32.
Yeah.
I think I
Yeah.
said 33.
Yes,
I
33. We want to at least
the
have
scale.
a shot at being, the majority for once.
Yeah. So I'm interested in y'all's perspective. How do you think things are going so far as like the balance in the community and at the competitive events and everything?
Yeah, it's at the competitive events, it's definitely lagging. And from what I believe I heard Sarah say at one of our previous things, was that it was about Sarah and Miss Memento said that it was about 1 in 10 people competing were of marginalized gender. But
Okay.
so that's not great to begin with.
Mhm.
And then the fact that none of them converted is also really frustrating.
Yeah. I was judging at the challenge event in Chicago, and there were people that were kind of like more like they would come, females would come to ask me questions, like judging questions and whatnot. And we're kind of like, but I could tell that there was like maybe a lot of anxiety there. Yeah. And like not being able to see them like go as far as, yeah, it should be an even split, right? Statistically. And yeah, we're not seeing that. And just seeing the struggles that a lot of players were up against, it was very much lit a fire for me to be able to do what we're doing with Love2Lore and kind of support those players.
Yeah, so I think it's important that we just start chipping away at those values, try and getting it to be more than 1 in 10 and more than 0 in the top cut. Because
Yeah.
every person who we do, every person we add lets someone else see that another person of marginalized gender is participating.
Mm-hmm.
And once we start seeing some of us make top cut, once we're, if we get like 10 people into top cut, that's enough to show a little girl or a little non-binary person that
It's
there's
possible.
room. Yeah, that's possible that there's room for us in the competitive end.
Yeah.
Because I think Lorcana does a great job at saying there's room for us in the casual side, but it's not great at saying there's room for us in the competitive side.
And I think there are definitely concerted efforts on Ravensburger's part to demonstrate the shift as well, and to make room for us on the competitive side. Like the global OP competitive manager is a woman. So like that says something to me personally. And I doubt that very many other TCGs can say that for both their OP manager and their community manager to be women. And their social media manager, actually. All three of the most community facing people at Ravensburger for Lorcana are women, which is pretty fantastic. And Steve has actually said, or maybe it was Ryan Miller, I can't remember which one of them it was, but Aaron from the Illuminateers played us this clip when we were on last week for the Women's Roundtable, that they specifically said that they want to make room for everyone in Lorcana. And having that driving force behind the game, as well as community efforts like ours in front of the game, I think are going to both need to work together in order to make that kind of a thing happen.
Yeah, definitely. It's so great to see them really pushing it from their side. And not like as like we kind of have to do this kind of thing. It's more of like, yes, we believe in this. This is what we want for the game.
Yeah. And one of the problems is Ravensburger made too good a game. And so they are tearing away all of these Magic pros because it's such a good game. And that's really giving the cis men, a head start above us. And we need to fight against that head start.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. I've said to a couple of people, it's not a matter of, get good, because there are players of marginalized genders who are very good at this game. It is a matter of resources, it's a matter of numbers, it's a matter of opportunities, and those are the ways in which we feel we can empower this community. And also getting better at the game, because we don't get better without those things, right? Like those things are all going to help people get better at the game.
Yeah. Well, and that's why you have communities like this, right? To have people that you can sit and, grind away at games at, or, hey, give me feedback on my deck. And you don't have to worry about anything else other than I want to get better at the game. And you've got those people built in to be able to help you there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. It sounds like sorry. I keep interrupting. I'm sorry.
No, it's me. It's me. Yeah, but I just think that just even having the group there and knowing that they're there to call upon is empowering in itself. Like feeling like you have, you know, a place to go to talk to, you know, and things like that makes going to your LGS a lot less scary. So yeah, it's been such a support piece.
Yeah, I really look forward to seeing, you know, how this community grows and all the great things that y'all do with it. You know, I mean, obviously you're fully invested in it, so you know, there's there's no limit to where it could end up, you know, as long as it keeps going and, you know, keeps growing. You know, I look forward to it and, you know, potentially collaborations with other groups in the future and, you know, maybe even Ravensburger someday. Who
Hey.
knows?
Hey, I mean,
That would be kind of
Rochelle
cool.
is already in the Love2Lore Discord, so
There you go. Step in
you
the right
know,
direction.
it's not, you know, not something completely off our radar.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but no, I think the best the best way to put it is we look forward to folks seeing our jerseys at upcoming Lorcana
Yes.
challenges and
Yes.
set championships.
I almost asked about that too, if y'all were going to do jerseys and stuff. But I mean, it's a competitive team. You have to have the, you know, the swag and everything.
Yeah, we're
So,
finalizing all of our graphic design so that we can come
okay.
correct, you know?
Okay. Got to get the branding. Yep, I understand.
Yes.
Yep. That'll be cool. I look forward to seeing those. Well, cool. Well, thank y'all for taking some time to sit down with me. I really appreciate it. I love hearing about this stuff. You know, it's great to see community efforts like this really kick off and really just, I mean, massively grow right away. You know, it's a testament to not only the, you know, the need for it in the community, but you know, for everybody to be able to feel comfortable in having that space. You know, it's amazing. And I appreciate that you guys are actually dedicated to it and really putting in the effort to make sure that it is a good, safe space and a supporting space for everybody that's in there. You know, because it's, you know, it's a huge group of people out there, and you want to make sure that, you know, everybody's treated like a person, you know. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
not you know, so well, cool. Yeah, thank you all so much. I do want to end
And
with my, oh, what was that?
I was just I think my thing froze there for a second. I was just gonna say
Oh,
we're doing our best and we do what we can. And hopefully that that shines through in all the work that we're doing.
yeah, doing good. Okay, so I will end on my same three questions that I ask everybody. We'll start with the favorite ink and favorite card right now.
Oh, now I have to choose. Okay, well, I guess my favorite ink is probably sapphire, just because A, blue is my favorite color, and B, the ramp mechanic is some of the most fun for me.
Yeah.
However, my favorite card is a very hard question because I have trouble distinguishing like favorite card for the mechanics versus favorite card for the art.
Right.
And
You could
neither of
name
those
two. It's okay.
neither of them is in sapphire actually.
Okay.
My favorite card art is actually Mickey Artful Rogue from Kendall
Mm-hmm.
Hale. It's my favorite art in the game so far, which is I think a testament to how strong some of the first chapter art is. That it's stood that test of time. And my favorite card to play right now is actually Floodborn Helga Sinclair, Femme Fatale, where when she quests, she can do 3 damage to something that is already damaged. So playing
Oh.
her in an Emerald Steel build is really fun because you can do plink damage and then you can make it worse.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't seen that. Well, I'm sure I've seen it, but I don't remember it. So might be worth revisiting. That sounds pretty dangerous. All
I
right.
like
Well,
her
cool.
a lot. She's in my my off Bucky build. I don't run a standard Bucky. I run all of the more fun Floodborns that I like, and not all of the standard ones. It's not competitive at all, but it's fun to play.
Well, that's half of it, right? Putting together
Yeah.
those fun decks and just enjoying the game. It's okay. Everybody can engage in the game however they want to engage with it. You don't have to be, super competitive. So, well, cool. All right. Lauren, favorite ink, favorite card?
Sure. My favorite ink and card are going to be connected. They're going to be Amber because I'm a big Mufasa believer.
Yeah.
But my favorite card's not Mufasa. It's Rapunzel gifted with healing. She
such a
is
good card.
my Twitter profile picture.
Mhm.
I love drawing cards. Like, any good card player, I love drawing cards. But
Well,
if I
that
were going to
art-
do one for my favorite art, it's actually not that. It's Aurora Dreaming Princess, but the Enchanted.
Oh, yeah. That is a pretty card.
It's a
That's a
very
nice
pretty
one.
card, and it's so perfectly in line with the old school art style of Sleeping Beauty. I love it so much.
Yes.
Nice. All right, Sarah.
I surprisingly, I'm not going to say Sapphire, which I gut wants, like my ramp self wants to, but I know it's really Steel because I love to control the board. So definitely gonna do Steel, and therefore favorite card would be Giant Tinkerbell.
Yeah.
Tinkerbell Giant Fairy.
Classic. Yep.
Yeah. But the art on that one is what I was my first like love affair with the art on the cards, and just like had to get that card. And so now I've been hoarding them, and I collect, like I have a massive collection of her and her playmat. So
I was going to ask. Yep. I
Yeah.
figured you would have the playmat, but
I have a few. Yes.
All right. One for each day of the week, or
One to rock, one to stock, and one for just in case, and one to trade, and one to collect.
There you go. All right. That works.
I have a problem. It's fine. It's fine.
I think honestly, we all have a problem. Judging by, like I said, we all have the stacks of cards. You can't see most of mine because they're down
Right.
here behind
They're
me.
behind the
but,
curtain. Yes.
Yeah.
Sarah and I were just talking the other day how I have no Lorcana playmats, no official ones. And she was like,
either.
we need to change that.
Mhm.
I don't
Well, I
either.
hear somebody has some Tinkerbell mats. If you're...
What do you have to trade?
Yeah, I know, right?
I got you.
All right, next question. Favorite Disney movie and why? You have to include the
Animated
why.
or animated live action or both?
Any of them. It's your choice.
Mine is definitely Mary Poppins.
Oh, that's a great choice.
Classic or the newer one?
The classic. I like the new one. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a hater, but yeah, I love the original. Sherman Brothers gets me every time. It's just so good. Feed the birds. I mean, come on. I'm gonna cry now.
Can't go wrong with Julie Andrews and Dick Van Dyke either.
Oh gosh, I know, right? Yeah, you get it.
I get it. I have to go animated. The Great Mouse Detective is my sentimental fave. I'm a big literature nerd. I was an English major in college. And so anything that's, a literature adaptation is high on my list in general. But The Great Mouse Detective is one that I have loved since I was very small. It was my sick day movie. And it wasn't available on VHS for the longest time. It was stuck in the vault. And so we always had to rent it from Blockbuster. And so that was every time I was sick, after we went to the doctor, my mom would take me to Blockbuster and we could rent 2 movies, one to watch today and one to watch tomorrow. And theoretically, because I got strep throat so much, and you're not contagious if you take the medicine for 48 hours. And so I was out of school for 2 days every time. It was one movie today, one movie tomorrow. So I would get Great Mouse Detective and Sailor Moon.
There you go.
Yeah, so Great Mouse Detective because sentimental memories and also literature adaptations. Sherlock Holmes is my boy.
Nice. All right. Well, cool. Lauren?
So I'm a big fan of classical film.
Okay.
Because of that, I'm going to choose Wall-E, because Wall-E was based off of Charlie Chaplin's The Tramp.
Mm-hmm.
But I also
Deep
just
cut.
think Wall-E is a perfect film. Especially the first 45 minutes are unimpeachable. And then once they get in space, I still think it's a brilliant movie. I love that protagonists don't speak, really.
Mm-hmm.
I love the music. I just adore everything about Wall-E.
It's a great movie. It's one of my favorites too.
The score of Wall-E is one of my favorite
Yeah.
all-time
Oh, yeah.
scores.
And
Same.
the end song is so great. I love that one.
Yeah, Down to Earth, Peter Gabriel.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So good. All right. Well, so last question. Tell everybody where they can find you guys. Either personally or, the Love2Lore stuff, any of that.
Lauren, you want to go first?
Sure. I am at Lauren_Kana on Twitter and an Instagram that I don't know what I'm doing with, and on YouTube as well, which I also don't know what I'm doing with the death of that app we don't talk about.
Mhm.
Way to innovate. You'll figure it out.
We've got plans.
Yeah.
Sarah?
I will go next. Yes. With that awesome segue. I am on Instagram as Lorcana Librarian. Going on Twitter at Illum Librarian, because Lorcana Librarian is too long for X Twitter. So
Boo.
I'm already not a fan. I'm trying to figure it
Yeah.
out. So
It'll always be
if
Twitter.
anybody has a if anybody has a better username for me, let me know. Yeah, and I am doing the Love2Lore Instagram right now. We somehow, and I'd like to know who complained, but we ended up in Instagram jail, so I can't like or comment or anything, and I can like
Ooh.
barely
Oh, no.
post until the 29th. But I've put in my my appeal. So I love you all. I have not commented or liked your posts, but I love them. They're amazing, and I will comment on them after the 29th. So.
Huh. Wonder what happened.
Yeah, no, but I would love to know. I've written my angry emails, So
All right. Well, fingers crossed. Maybe it'll get lifted early.
Yeah.
Who knows?
gosh, I know. Like what the heck? What did you do? It was you. Was it you? No.
All right. Well, Caroline, you want to finish this out
Yeah.
here?
You can find me on Twitter at Lorcana Bell. You can find me on Instagram at lorcana.bell, because Lorcana Bell apparently was already taken. And you can find me on Discord, adminning the Illum Tears server or adminning the Love2Lore server, just generally around because I'm online perpetually. I have nothing better to do right now. Hopefully also getting YouTube and or Twitch started up here in the next month or so. I've been learning OBS and figuring out how to frame some things and designing my own graphics. So maybe we'll start streaming some games.
Nice. So
And I
there's
don't think we said this, but
go ahead.
you can also find our Discord. It's Twitter and in the Instagram for the Love2Lore Discord.
Yes.
That's what I was going to ask. You read my mind.
Okay.
Just want to make sure, I want to get every possible thing, and I'll have it all in the show notes, and so everybody can find all this great stuff pretty easily. So, all right. Well, thank you all again. I appreciate you sitting down with me, and I wish you the best of luck, in the Love2Lore community and building that up. And like I said, I look forward to, seeing what it turns into and where it goes in the future.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you around the community.
Yay.
Thanks for joining us on today's episode. If you liked what you heard, make sure to subscribe and rate or like us on your platform of choice. If you'd like to reach out to the show, you can email us at LorcanaChats@gmail.com. You can also find us on Twitter, or X, at LorcanaChats, the podcast at podcast.lorcanachats.com, or just lorcanachats.com. We love feedback on the show, and let us know if there's anyone you'd like to hear from in the Lorcana community. See you next time.